So now, Pat Egan, very in a gutsy fashion, decided he wanted to step to the podium and speak first. So, Pat Egan, the floor is yours.
I appreciate it, John. Jeffrey, I say this out of the utmost love that I have for this organization. I'm a man who's standing here in a Kiko Alonso jersey. And I say that because I am living proof that you can change. You can rectify mistakes. A year later, I was wearing a Carson Wentz jersey. Do you remember Carson Wentz? Do you remember the North Dakota kid that you fell in love with? Do you remember that broken quarterback that you now have? That one right there. Jeffrey, you've lost your way. It happened February 4th, 2018, when you finally got that Lombardi trophy. And after that, you've had your head buried in the sand. If we didn't care, we wouldn't be here, honestly. But we are, because we know that the new norm wasn't supposed to be this. The new norm wasn't supposed to be Doug Peterson fired after 3 years, Howie Roseman still here. You're looking for an offensive coordinator, a defensive coordinator, an offensive line coach. And yet the biggest problem is you. Michael Jackson wrote about it, Man in the Mirror. I think you need to look in the mirror. You need to realize that your friendship with Howie Roseman might be your biggest downfall. You used to be one of the better owners in this city. Somewhere down the way, you lost your way. You lost your identity by making poor choices. You need to know who you are. You need to know your limitations. It's important in business. It's important in life. You don't know your limitations. You don't know that you're not a football scout because you wanted more after 2018. I appreciate it. I do. I know you want to get involved, but you hire people to do that. Let them do their jobs. You need to hire the right person, but you also need to get rid of the wrong one. It's Howie Roseman. He'll survive. He'll be fine. He'll get another job. Let him go. Cut bait. I love you, Jeff. Wow. I love the Eagles.
But now it's important that Jamie Lynch gets his opportunity and seizes the floor. And Jamie, you know they're listening. They're right here enjoying Mrs. Egan's crumb cake. But another piece, by the way, Jeffrey. That's multiples. The floor is yours.
Jeffrey and Howie, first I want to thank you for coming here today and listening to us, your consumer. We appreciate that. I'm here because I care. I'm sitting here in a Super Bowl 52 champions quarter zip shirt, which brings me fond memories every time I put it on because it was one of the best days of my life. But you've hurt me recently, and I think you need to understand that. Now, everybody's going to throw daggers at Howie, and I don't want to throw daggers. Jeffrey, you need to understand and realize he's the problem with the Eagles right now. From the loose lips and the leaking to the media to painting narratives about certain players and certain situations, it has to stop. No successful organization has such loose lips. The past 3 years and the draft picks and the arrogance has led to failure. And I'm not even going to look to the salary cap situation because I always think there's a way to wiggle out of it. But the draft situation is why you are where you are. When you have aging players and you try to keep the band together, I get that. You have to realize that was a mistake and you need to correct that. And the only way to correct that is to get a pipeline of youth in your organization that is talented. And the arrogance, ever since Super Bowl 52, has led your general manager, and perhaps yourself, Jeffrey, to having smartest man in the room syndrome, Brian Colangelo syndrome. And you're not going to win trying to outsmart the rest of the league. Sometimes the obvious play is the obvious play for a reason. You need to listen to your scouts. You need to concede the war room to John Dorsey. And you need to trust your scouts. They do the work the entire year long. And for you to blow them off is an arrogant, obnoxious move. And we need you to be better. We need Howie to step away from the war room and let somebody else take control because the last 3 years has not been good enough. It's a failure, and I love you, and I see my young daughter on the cusp of fandom, and I don't want her to to go through the struggles I had to go through for 38 years before we got to the top of the mountain. Please get Howie out of that war room. I love you.
I cede the floor to my man, Bob Cooney.
Thank you, John. Jeffrey, Howie, we thank you for joining us today. We know that interventions are never an easy endeavor, but success isn't easy either. And no one knows that as well as you, Jeffrey, as it took you 20-plus years as an owner to reach the ultimate goal of Super Bowl champion. Success can be a difficult road to navigate, and quite frankly, since that memorable day, February 4th of 2018, you have been mired in a mind-numbing fork in the road. We are here today to help you get back on the road to victory. I won't rain upon you ideas of how to improve your organization, as listeners and coworkers have done so more than admirably this morning. I will, however, offer some advice for ways like this, for seasons like this one, not to become the new norm. The rabid fans of your organization pride themselves in stepping into your shoes. Yes, even your old man New Balance sneakers, Jeffrey. And sorry, John, I see you're wearing them today also. And if you are going to right yourselves, I think it is incumbent upon you to now step into their shoes. Extract from your fan base the passion that literally drips from their brows on those hot September Sundays at Lincoln Financial Field, and intertwine it with the football experts that you have hired and properly addressed your biggest shortcomings, that is the NFL draft. Look at the future talent of the NFL through the eyes of your fans, as their vision would have rightfully solved your failures, not only at wide receiver, but many others as well. Make sure Alexis starts your day with 97.5 The Fanatic, as trade proposals and suggestions for free agent signings are often drenched with well-thought reality. Your support group doesn't consist of you, Jeffrey, for Howie, and you, Howie, for Jeffrey. No. It is more than the 69,000 plus that pack your stadium during your 8 regular season games. Yours is an organization that is adored worldwide. Hear those words. Your organization is adored worldwide. While you are the overseers, the decision makers, the money men of this organization, realize that you are not the face of it. That honor belongs to the ones that are painted in midnight green and that are overly joyous in victory and clenched in rage after disheartening losses. Yes, your fans. While they cannot share the war room with you or sit in your suite at the 50-yard line during games, what they can share is their vast knowledge that has no peer when it comes to football. Listen to them. Reunite with them via obvious draft picks and cap wizardry. Remember how you got on the road to success 3 short years ago, and let that be your starting point. Yes, on the road to victory. Thank you.
I love the road to victory. Please let me share mine. It's been a long time that I've waited to be a resident of the great state of Pennsylvania again. On January 1st of 1995, I went to Georgia. But what stayed behind here was my heart for the sports teams. I never lost my love of the teams that I grew up with. Never betrayed that love to kiss butt with the fans of my new hometown in Atlanta, where I spent 25 years. Every time there was a home playoff game, Delta was ready when I was. And I was there. And every opportunity that I had, I was there in the stands. Could I have sat up, Jeffrey, Howie, in a nice heated box? No. I chose to buy tickets and be amongst high school, college friends, people that I've known all my life that share my love and devotion to the Philadelphia Eagles. That's where I wanted to be. In the 400 level, freezing my hiney off as I saw the Eagles beat the Atlanta Falcons in the divisional playoff game, another flight home, just to come back the following weekend to see that glorious NFC Championship victory over the Minnesota Vikings. Seeing it in the stands. Track the credit card. You know I buy tickets every year. My daughter, raised from birth, every night when we said prayers, dream of daddy, your puppy dogs, and the Eagles winning the Super Bowl. At 14, she saw it. She saw that Super Bowl, and God bless it, it was one of the most glorious events of my entire life. I said to God that I would never ask for another one. But God, I certainly didn't ask for this. When a great organization goes off the rails, they can take control of the wheel, yank it back, and get back between the white lines. The greatest business, potentially, in the history of the United States, Coca-Cola did it. They thought their great product wasn't good enough, and they made mistakes. And they went and created new Coke. But you know what they did? They corrected it. And they brought back what everybody loved. The Eagles know the answer. You know the answer, Jeffrey. It's been in your building before. Go back to best practices. Howie, go back to managing the cap and overseeing the operation and maximizing revenues so Jeffrey will continue to love you. The Eagles need a wake-up call, and hopefully today is it. And I'm thrilled that we were able to be a little part of it.